Well, welcome, welcome. This is a lot of fun today. It's always a lot of fun for me, by the way. Yeah. Even when the message appears serious, it's still fun. Uh, are you incorporating humor into your life? Are you incorporating it into your spiritual practice, or are you so serious? Asking for a friend. There are many benefits to a sense of humor in the world, aren't there? I mean, seriously, right? It feels better to laugh than to scowl. It physically feels better, and emotionally, oh yeah, that's off the charts, right? Laughter is very, very powerful medicine. In fact, it's one of the Holy Spirit's greatest tools. And when you arrive at a point, which you may have already arrived at years ago, where you can laugh at the ridiculousness of all the crap that we believe and all of the crap that we put ourselves through in the world, when you can actually just give yourself enough space, right? Take a little step back and laugh at it. It's funny. So humor, yes, it's good. Use it. Today, yeah, that was spontaneous. I never know what's going to come out of my mouth, and I love that. It's fun. So shall we continue on? The Manual for Teachers, this is where we are, the spiritual FAQ section, where Jesus posits some questions that are very frequent and that one, in fact, should wonder about on the path, absolutely, and provides his answers to them. It's all part of A Course in Miracles from the thought system, the unified thought system of this course. So the third question, what are the levels of teaching? Okay, so what are the levels of teaching? We've looked so far in the manual at the question, who are the teachers of God and who are their pupils? So what are the levels of teaching? There aren't any. That is the simplest, most basic, and truest answer, because there is no order of difficulty in miracles. There's no level, there's no gradations, there's no separation of any kind. Therefore, how can there, in truth, be levels? That's what is, that's true. In fact, all teaching opportunities are maximal. Now, Jesus just comes out and says this in different words and in different places throughout the course. And the teaching and learning relationship appears to come in different forms, doesn't it? The content, the essence, the underlying content of all of this is that people meet when they're supposed to meet. And yes, as we saw yesterday with our expose about time, it's scripted. It is. It's preordained. It's predestined, however you want to call that. You will meet the people that you're supposed to meet. When you are ready as a student, you will meet the teacher. When the student's ready, the teacher appears. Boom, always. That's always true. Yeah, we meet those whom we're supposed to meet. Why? Because that relationship has the potential to be what the Course refers to as a holy relationship. Now, if you want a definition of that, let's just call it a holy relationship is any relationship where there is the potential for one to see another as themselves, right? It's for you to see another person as yourself. That is why you meet certain people on the path, because that potential is there. And another way that Jesus comes out and says is that you're ready for each other. I mean, when the student is ready, the teacher appears. Yes, most definitely, because you're ready for each other. Now, that's a two-way street, by the way. It's not just the student being ready for the teacher. It's the teacher being ready for the student so that they can both combined learn from each other, teaching and learning being exactly the same. And the reason it appears that there are limits to this is because there is no one single teacher who can possibly hope to meet 8.5 billion people over the course of a few decades of time. It isn't possible. Therefore, there are certain people that are assigned to one another. Now, Jesus goes on in the following paragraphs to explain some things that I really hope will hit home and that are most likely to touch a chord of recognition deep within you. In the world, there appear to be levels of teaching. It's only an appearance, as we've seen. There are no levels, there's no difference, there's no separation of any kind. You meet those whom you're to meet in a teaching-learning relationship because the two of you, or if it's a group, all of you, are ready for each other. And there is the maximal potential right now, in the present moment, for learning, for a holy relationship, for you to recognize another's interests as your own. So Jesus goes on to explain, and this is actually very, very, very helpful. It's very helpful because we could say there are no levels and leave it at that, and it would be dead accurate. However, here in the world, there appear to be different levels of teaching and learning situations, don't there? And Jesus lists specifically three. Let's just go through them really quickly. One is what we would deem coincidence. It's what we would deem a chance encounter. Well, there are no chance encounters. This is someone bumping into somebody on a street corner. It is someone smiling at one another as they walk down the street. It's you walking down the street and hearing somebody wish you good morning or smile at you. Things like that that seem trivial and insignificant and fleeting, very fleeting, because they're here 1 second, they're gone the next. Those so-called chance encounters are meant to be. They have the potential to be a holy relationship. What can you learn from these? Well, a whole lot. Would you rather, as you're out walking around the neighborhood or the park or wherever you are, would you rather have someone say hi to you or good morning? Or would you rather have them scowl at you and say something nasty and mean? It's a lesson right there. It looks obvious. Well, they're all obvious, aren't they? And it appears to be trivial and something that one can simply glance over because it seems to happen all the time. Well, they do happen all the time for your benefit. What's the lesson? Extend kindness. Could be that, right? Extend love. Say good morning to the next person that you see, rather than look down and shoot them some negative energy. I don't know if you can't do that, you can't do that, but that's an example, isn't it? Right? It's these situations that we run into all the time. They are a gift. They're a teaching, learning situation. Okay, that's one. The second is when a teacher and a learner, right? We'll just use those terms. Two people, let's just say, approach one another and then they work together, sometimes quite intensely, for a period of time, and then they appear to separate. All right. So one of the things that I do professionally is I have a professional mentorship program. It's 9 weeks. Let's just use this as an example. Yeah, it's 9 weeks of a deep dive, intense deep dive with somebody, and then the program appears to end. Now, there may or may not be follow-up after that, and often there is, because one recognizes, yeah, the road's not over yet. I could still benefit from this continued contact. However, that's an example, and that we can come together for a period of time, learn, and then we appear to separate. So there's an intense period of teaching and learning going on. And then the third that Jesus mentions specifically is a situation that is lifelong, or nearly lifelong. And that is comparatively rare because two people have to have arrived by their own circuitous routes, sometimes at the exact same place on the path for that teaching and learning to occur and to be lifelong. Now, an example of this could be two people that have been married for 50 years or something like that, which is quite rare, isn't it? And it's really quite beautiful when you see it, because think of all, if you've been married for 50 years, I haven't, right? And my grandparents were, however, and it was really, really amazing just to think of everything that a 50-year relationship, plus they were actually married for over 75, by the way. And think of that period of time, a lifetime, and how much these folks went through. I would think about that, and it would be really impressive. Yeah, good times, bad times, ugly times, beautiful times, right? Life. Yeah. Yeah. And it's comparatively rare to see the situation where that's a teaching, learning situation that's lifelong. Now, from a spiritual standpoint, that will have meant that both people are in roughly the same place, or exactly the same place, with that potential for continued teaching and learning together. So, yeah, if you never have one of those in this lifetime, that's all right. Also, if you never have one of the second variety, an intense but periodic in time teaching, learning situation, so be it. We all, in truth, have those so-called chance encounters. We all have an opportunity to extend love. We all have an opportunity to see someone else's interests as our own. Let's repeat that. We all have an opportunity to see someone else's interests as our own. Even scrolling your news feed on social media, it's an opportunity to see someone else's interests as your own. Even if, and if you prefer, especially if they're expressing views that you do not agree with. How is this anything but an opportunity to extend love? You don't have to comment on it. You don't have to agree. How is it anything but an opportunity on a platter, a divine gift to forgive, to extend love, to show up and demonstrate, i.e., teach what you would learn? Love, forgiveness. You would certainly Wouldn't you prefer that if you're the person posting that trashy negativity, that someone else would forgive you, i.e., overlook the fact that you may be just venting, and you may be, right? That you're just angry, that you're upset with the direction of your country, that you're upset with the direction of the world, that you're simply venting, and forgiveness overlooks the form of that. The content, it's a call for love, isn't it? This is simply one example, but it's an opportunity on a platter to forgive. And the beautiful thing about the spiritual path, life is full of these. I invite you to see everything that comes up in your experience as an opportunity to extend love. Because as we know from our studies thus far, people are either extending love or they're issuing a call for love. Somebody posting on social media with an obviously hate-filled, invective-laden, F-bomb-laced tirade post is issuing a call for love. Does not make a single bit of difference what side of the political equation they deem themselves on. Remember, there's no separation of any kind, no differences, and ultimately no levels of teaching. The text of the course states very, very shortly after it begins, I mean, it's in part 1, all expressions of love are maximal. This is where Jesus starts off A Course in Miracles by telling us there is no order of difficulty in miracles. They're all alike. One is just like any other. And it's really quite beautiful to approach your life experience in this manner. And I really, really do seriously invite you to do this. Everything that occurs is an opportunity to extend love. It's an opportunity for forgiveness. Everything that comes across your path that is upsetting to you is an opportunity for forgiveness. Everything that you have an instant judgmental reaction to, which we all do, especially politics, sometimes, right? That's an opportunity for forgiveness too. And anything that's beautiful is symbolic of your beauty, our limitlessness, our love, our joy, shared as the Christ, the Son of God. It's one way of looking at things, and I invite you to do that, because in practice, the more you see things this way, the more you'll remember who you are, the more you'll remember to extend love. And the more we do that, the more we remember who we really are. And we can leave the extraneous additional crap to the side. It won't still be there either. You let it go, it just vanishes. So that's what we all invite you to do. All right. Thank you, as always, for joining me. And as always, if you have particular questions or you want to reach out to me for any reason, you know where to find me. Comment here, follow me on social media. You know the drill. All right, guys. Thanks so much. Talk to you soon.